Hi, what's happening? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and we're here to talk about two major topics today. First of all, apparently NFL teams are scared to death of Jayden Daniels' potential, and that scared to death that you see in the title is in parentheses for a reason. That is not my wording. That is coming from an ESPN insider that talks to several teams. We're going to dive into that whole situation, what that even means, and we gotta debate whether or not this Jayden Daniels hype is potentially out of control already. But where is it coming from? Because when you really think about it, it's coming from more so outside of the organization than inside. We're gonna talk about all of that. Also, apparently, Micah Parsons has even more drama with his not only Cowboys teams but teammates specifically. We're gonna dive into the history of that and why Micah Parsons' momentum to Washington may be gaining a little bit. Remember, he loves Dan Quinn. We're going to talk about the quote that he had a few months ago about Dan Quinn leaving to become a head coach. We're going to dive into all of that and more. But before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned for all of the content. I can't wait. I'm super excited about when we get back to training camp. I mean, all of this Jayden Daniels hype, and we're not even practicing right now. We're not even getting more clips or anything like that. So I can't wait to get back to training camp. The Rookies Report July 19th. Of course, I'm going to keep y'all updated every day that the media has access to those practices. I'll tell you what happened. I'll show you what happened with the clips from the practices, all of that type of stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that and a lot more content leading up to July 19th as well. And without further ado, man, let's go ahead and dive into this video right now. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so this all started when ESPN's Jeremy Fowler went on ESPN, went on NFL Live, and straight up said, quote, "I had multiple people this week bring up unprompted, like I'm kind of scared to death what Washington could be with Jayden Daniels," unquote. And I really want to emphasize the unprompted part. It's not like Jeremy Fowler. Basically what he's saying is he didn't go around other NFL teams, around their personnel, coaches, GMs, whatever, front office guys, and ask them specifically, how do you feel about Jayden Daniels' potential with the Washington Commanders? He did not do that. He said unprompted, just talking to NFL teams, basically doing like a vibe check, I guess, before we head into training camp. Everybody's on vacation with their families, just chilling. Like, this is the time to chill, even though right now Georgia high school football is in full effect, like fully padded, practicing and things like that. But Georgia's different from most of the other country. Yeah, a lot of other states in the South aren't even doing that. That's just a random tangent. But basically, in the football world, outside of Georgia high school sports, everybody's pretty much chilling. I mean, Jayden Daniels himself is more than likely still in California, probably with Brandon Ayuk. I'm probably going to do a video updating that. But Jeremy Fowler's probably calling a lot of these coaches and front office guys while they're on vacation. I doubt they're at the facilities right now. This is the time that if you were to go to Disneyland with your family, Disney World, whatever, go on vacation to another country, this is the time. I'm also working on a video updating y'all on what a lot of our Washington Commanders players, especially the rookies, have been doing in between this break from mandatory minicamp leading up to training camp. Like, we have clips of like Dominique Hampton and those guys. So I think Frankie Louvu went to Greece or something. I have that clip, but also have the clip of him coming back to America and getting straight to work. So I'm gonna keep y'all up, be on the lookout for that video as well. But my point is, everybody's kind of just relaxing right now. People, even though they're football people, they're kind of in a situation where they're not really in football mode right now. And Jeremy Fowler, I'm just basically trying to set it up as the, like, how do we even get here? Jeremy Fowler is talking to teams about, like, basically doing a vibe check around the NFL, and the fact that multiple teams are bringing up Jayden Daniels when not asked about Jayden Daniels is actually quite incredible. Like, that's wild. Let's dive into the exact quote. The entire quote is, after what he said with the, "I've had multiple people this week bring up unprompted, I'm kind of scared to death about what Jayden Daniels could be with Washington." He also said, quote, "Because he's got the high-end running ability like some of these other quarterbacks we've seen come in, but he is more advanced as a passer. It was brought up to me with the comp with Lamar Jackson. Maybe not quite as good of a runner as Jackson was, but good enough, but a better passer at this stage of his career than Jackson was basically coming out of the draft. Really, the offensive line is the one thing that could be holding back Washington's offense because they have a lot of skill to go along with Daniels, unquote. So when Jeremy Fowler's talking to these other NFL teams around the league right now, and he's hearing a lot of noise and hype around Jayden Daniels, it's not just Jayden Daniels, it's also the skill position guys around him with the running back group. Brian Robinson, extremely underrated. Austin Eckler, well known. Let's see if he can bounce back from the pretty disappointing 2023 season that he had. Zach Ertz at tight end, along with a lot of talent in the tight end room. That's one of the deepest positions, most heavily competitive positions we have on the entire team right now. Like, we're going to end up cutting like one or two really good tight ends that another team can't wait to scoop up. That's how deep we are at tight end. That's to Jayden Daniels' advantage as well, especially a veteran like Zach Ertz, and then the versatility of a Ben Sinnott, the blocking, arguably the best blocking tight end in John Bates, and Armani Rogers has the highest ceiling out of any of those guys I just named. I mean, this tight end room is stacked, especially if everybody's healthy and everybody can reach their potential. And then on top of that, we didn't even get to the receivers yet. I'm a big believer in Luke McCaffrey's going to ball out. I mean, he's only scratched the surface. He's only been playing receiver at this level for the past 2 years. I believe maybe he was a receiver somewhat sometime in like high school, but he switched to quarterback going into college, and then he was a quarterback for like 2 years in college and then a receiver for the last two. So this is a guy that, I mean, he's still learning how to do a lot of the nuanced things. I mean, some people have even said that right now he has like that problem that a lot of raw wide receivers have, where they have that one speed. They just full go all of the time. They don't know when to go through their route slowly, maybe let it build and then break into all speed. Right now he's just full speed as fast as he can go, everything that he does. He'll learn over time with nuance, with coaching, with some advice from Terry McLaurin, which he's been getting a lot of. That, you know, just certain aspects to his game right now. My point is that he's still not even there yet, and he's already as good as what we've seen with the great one-handed catches, helmet flying off his head. We need to get him a tighter helmet too, because his college tape is littered with his helmet flying off for some crazy reason. Somebody please get him a helmet that fits at the NFL level. But either way, this guy already looks like he's showing a lot of flashes and potential. I mean, granted, he hasn't played an NFL game yet, but if you look at his tape, if you've even seen some of the clips from practices so far this offseason after we drafted him as our third receiver makes a really good receiving core, because I believe Jahan Dotson's definitely going to bounce back. I feel like that was more so a chemistry issue with Sam Howell, and also just the offense around him. Eric Bieniemy's fault more so than anything else, just not involving them in the right way. It just never seemed to really mesh. Now, Jahan Dotson did drop some passes he should have caught, but as far as like route running and getting open and things like that, he was the same guy as last year, but the offense around him just wasn't as good. I'm expecting him to bounce back with a better offense around him, better offensive players around him, quarterback, all of that type of stuff. And then Terry McLaurin's Terry McLaurin. And I mean, he's barely made it sometimes, especially last year, but this guy, him and Mike Evans have the longest streak of having 1,000 yards in a season and a certain amount of catches per season for like the last few years. And so he's pretty much Mr. Automatic. We can expect him to go out there and ball out. And I feel like if anything, with Jayden Daniels in at quarterback, that's only going to help Terry McLaurin, because Terry McLaurin is one of the best fade route running receivers in the NFL. We could debate back and forth about hands, maybe even Terry McLaurin overall. Where is he in the pecking order of receivers? Is he top 12? Is he top 10? Is he top 5? You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to fade routes, Terry McLaurin is one of the best in the NFL, and Jayden Daniels is one of the best fade route throwers I've ever seen come out of college. So that's just a match made in heaven right there. So basically, Jeremy Fowler's point is, and this is probably what he's hearing from other NFL teams as well, is that if the Washington Commanders offense isn't immediately explosive this year, like right out the gate, then it's because of the offensive line potentially holding us back. And I like the talent on the offensive line. It's just whether or not Brandon Coleman will be ready to start week 1 or not. And it's crazy too. It's an unfortunate situation for us, because the first few weeks of the season is probably like our hardest stretch, other than like we're gonna have to play our own division rivals as we get later into the season. But like even just travel distance and then having to play so many away games, we knock out a lot of the ugly in our schedule early on. But unfortunately for us, I mean, that's a good thing in theory, but right now we don't have a true true left tackle. You hope Brandon Coleman, the 3rd round pick rookie, can step up, but what if he's not ready until after we're done with that ugly stretch? So we'll see how that goes. It's really just the offensive line though. Again, I like the talent, I like the potential, but like week 1 wise, I'm very uncertain with what we have going on right now. But again, it's just great to hear this much hype around Jayden Daniels right now. This is incredible. I mean, I just don't know what's going on, because the crazy part is that a lot of this hype is coming from outside of the organization. Shouts out to my boy at DC Sports Dre. He brought up a great point on Twitter, literally quote tweeting the exact video of what Jeremy Fowler's talking about with people being scared to death of Jayden Daniels. He said the praise for him before he plays a game is reaching uncharted territories for Washington. Even RG3 had people doubting him in the summer of 2012, saying Kirk Cousins looked better than him in camp and things like that. Jayden is already getting high praise that even RG3 wasn't getting leading up to his rookie season in the offseason going up to it. And again, I want to point out the fact that it's not even really coming from us. That's the crazy part. Shouts out to at BISON Skins on Twitter. Bison Skins, I'm assuming. He brought up a great point. The cool thing here, though, is that it's external. Internally, they are trying to keep it under contain. Like not naming him the starter, no national commercials. He's not making rounds at events like the Kentucky Derby and things like that. He went to the one baseball game to throw the first pitch, but that's kind of like customary. That's like an automatic. To his point, shouts out to Bison Skins, the Commanders are not going out of their way to put Jayden Daniels in the spotlight as much as possible. They are not. A lot of this hype is literally coming from like outside sources and things like that, other teams, national media randomly bringing it up. It's not us. Again, Dan Quinn, we already know Jayden Daniels is a starter, and Dan Quinn has even made it known, going out of his way to let it be known that we're still going to go into somewhat of a quarterback competition going into training camp. The Browns announced Caleb Williams was their starting quarterback like months ago, like soon after the draft, before we even got to mandatory mini camps. And then again, the Commanders doing the exact opposite, trying to keep everything as calm and under wraps as possible. This is probably following like the Dan Quinn personality with how things are going right now. So again, it's just really interesting that there's all of this Jayden Daniels hype going on, but most of it's coming from outside of the organization. It's not coming from us. It's not us doing it. Now maybe people like me that's a fan, that's a Washington Commanders YouTube reporter that's hyping them up as well. But again, most of these things I'm bringing up and talking about is coming from outside the organization. Remember, just a few weeks ago, Louis Riddick went on ESPN and straight up said, quote, "You've seen some of the clips that the Commanders have put out there in terms of some of the throws that he has made during OTAs, and it's spectacular. And I've had correspondence with people down there who have said, look, very rarely does the ball hit the ground. He puts the ball exactly where it needs to be put. He can throw with touch. He can throw with velocity. He is a student of the game, and he is someone, most importantly, that the players will gravitate towards already. They want to be around him. They want to be accountable to him. They want to do better for him. That's pretty cool. He is going to take that town by storm as everything else around grows with him. I have 100% confidence in that." Again, there is an exact quote from Louis Riddick at ESPN from sources that he's hearing within the organization, but he added all of that. He's going to take the town by storm. I have 100% confidence in that and things like that. It is coming from an outside source. This is just a few weeks ago, before we even got to mandatory mini camps. And so I really want to know how y'all feel, those of y'all watching this video. How do y'all feel about this hype around Jayden Daniels? Like, for real. Like, honestly, be 100% transparent, 100% honest. Like, is this too much too early? Do you like it? Do you like the fact that we're potentially going into the regular season with like this amount of hype to where we like believe in ourselves? We believe we can beat anybody, even the Buccaneers who were just in the playoffs last year. We believe we can go to Tampa Bay and beat them with this hype on our back, basically being the battery and the fuel that charges us forward to go get that dub. Or do you feel like this is just too much and he's just a rookie quarterback? We need to let it settle. We need to do whatever we can as fans and the organization, coaching staff, players. I mean, players have been hyping them up. I'm working on a video of what the players within the Commanders organization have been saying about him. Or do you feel like we just need to all settle down? Do you feel like we just need to go full go? Or do you feel like we need to calm these talks and this hype of Jayden Daniels down? But also, while we're talking about Jayden Daniels, just to let you know, Jayden Daniels has been nominated as a 2024 ESPYs candidate for Best College Athlete. He already won the Heisman, so it almost kind of feels like he's like a shoo-in for it potentially winning this. Like, it definitely sounds like he has the lead on this. If I had to put money on anybody winning it, I would bet that the guy that won the Heisman would win that ESPY. But either way, we got to vote for him. So make sure you go vote for him. The Washington Commanders official Twitter even put up the fact that you need to vote for him, and they included the link ESPN.com/ESPYs. That's ESPYS. Make sure you go vote for our boy Jayden Daniels over there. Let's get him that dub. Or if another dub for the offseason. Nothing win or loss wise for the regular season yet, but as many offseason victories as he can get, I'm gonna do what I can. It's literally as soon as I'm done recording this video, I'm gonna go ahead and vote for him. Now, moving on to the next topic. Apparently, linebacker Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys is beefing with another teammate, but this time it is Malik Hooker, as Hooker made some remarks regarding whether Parsons cares more about his own podcast rather than the team's success. He literally said, quote, in the clip, make sure you go check out that clip if you want to watch it, because I can't be too upset with how Micah Parsons reacted. I understand why he would feel that how about you come say that to me, like in privacy, not on the internet. Now, granted, the messenger is a little funky, because Micah Parsons does say some things out loud that is like, man, you could have definitely kept that in-house. But the message is correct. The problem is just the messenger from Micah Parsons. But Micah Parsons is right. Even though he may not be the right person, his point is right. Because Micah said, just wish that you said this to me, but instead of some podcast that he was on. And so, of course, this has a lot of people speculating, could this be the beginning of the end of Micah Parsons in Dallas? And could he potentially end up reuniting with Commanders head coach Dan Quinn and defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr.? All right, so what exactly happened? Apparently, again, Micah Parsons is not happy with his teammate Malik Hooker for saying that he should focus more on the team and not his podcast. And in a sense, deleted posts, Parsons went off on Hooker for not speaking to him first. Some more drama in Dallas, of course. I mean, it's the Dallas Cowboys. What do we expect? Again, there's like a whole video clip of Malik Hooker talking about Micah Parsons. And you can argue maybe Malik Hooker probably has a good point. The problem is he shouldn't have said it like live on a podcast. He should have said it to Micah Parsons in his face. I think Malik Hooker's right. He just went about it the wrong way. And then Micah Parsons is right. He's just the wrong messenger. But again, in a post that was deleted from, he like quote tweeted the clip of somebody saying Malik Hooker is absolutely right. He said, just wish you said this to me, but instead of some podcast. And you got my number, family. Then he added a Malik Hooker 24. And you're my locker mate. So you could have said this any day. And you do realize I shoot the podcast on our off day. Why ain't we talking about everyone's preparations and focus leading up to the game week? I mean, I can point out a lot of other things, but I'm just not. And again, he recently deleted that quote tweet right there, that rant that he went on at Malik Hooker. Now, it was kind of hard to understand exactly what he was saying throughout the whole thing, but his point was, man, you could have said this to my face. And so this is not the only time that Micah Parsons has been seen as like a selfish teammate from the rest of his teammates. People around him are constantly complaining about Micah Parsons. This is not the first time. You also had a moment where Jesse Holley, who played wide receiver for the Cowboys from 2009 through 2011, he joined Ray's podcast to explain why he believes Parsons needs to do more for the Dallas Cowboys to break through. He said, quote, Micah Parsons to me is probably the most selfish player on this football team, unquote. Holley also claimed that Parsons' desire to remain a pass rusher is hurting the team, as that preference is supposedly keeping him from developing into an all-around great defender. And I mean, I feel like, me personally, even as a Commanders fan, I mean, your most versatile player, probably your most important player on the entire defense, to attack him to do more, I just feel like you should ask others to do more. But I mean, I guess I understand. He wants to be great. He needs to go out there and be great. I don't know. I'm going to stay out of it because I'm a Commanders fan, but I just feel like they're kind of wrong for going at him in this way as well. But either way, going back to the quote, Holley also said, quote, one of the reasons that Micah Parsons does not want to play linebacker is because it's too much responsibility. Maybe it's just the youth in him. Micah doesn't want to study. Micah doesn't want to focus in, and I truly believe Micah wants to be great for Micah, unquote. And that is crazy. Of course, I did a whole video talking about that way back when it happened. This is all the way back in like January or something like this, like before even the combine happened. But again, I just want to bring this up because this is not the first time that teammates have complained about Micah Parsons, his personality, and how much he's actually focused and in for the team and not just for himself to look good. And I guess you can make the argument that, yeah, he only wants to pass rush. He doesn't want to do anything run stopping, because when people not only just like as far as fans and statistics and things like that, but also even agents. When you're an edge rusher, what gets you the money that you want, market set of money, is they go straight to that sack statistic. It doesn't matter how many run stuffs you have, doesn't matter what your Pro Football Focus grade is. If you don't have a certain amount of sacks, the team is not going to take you serious in contract negotiations. So I can kind of see it from Micah Parsons' point of view, but I can also see it from the fans and the people that are, I mean, the teammates and the people that are around him that are saying that this guy just seems extremely selfish. He doesn't even seem focused. This guy's on a podcast immediately after we lose instead of being with us and trying to figure out what we could do to be better and things like that, which is really interesting. And so, of course, with all of that, the Dallas Cowboys drama, it seems like maybe at some point it's inevitable for him to end up leaving. But at the same time, though, unless they trade him, it's going to be a really long time because they already picked up his 5th-year option. So he's going to play this season in 2024, and he's only making like $5.4 million because, again, he's on a rookie contract, and then he's going to hit them for a $21 million cap hit next year on his 5th-year option. That's crazy. That's big money right there, but he's earned it. So unless we get him in 2026 as a free agent and the Dallas Cowboys don't sign him, if you want him any sooner than that, you would have to trade for him, and I just don't see us doing that at all. But you do got to remember that Micah Parsons is very high on Dan Quinn. He's one of the most outspoken people when it comes to upping Dan Quinn before he even got hired as the head coach for the Washington Commanders, because he literally said, quote, "Dan's my guy, and if he do leave me, it's always love. He might take me with him. You never know," unquote. So, of course, I got a lot of Commanders fans excited. And again, with the drama on the Cowboys end, and then the fact that Micah Parsons misses Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. and those guys, and you could argue one of the biggest weaknesses on this team right now is an elite pass rusher. Now, granted, we have some talent. Dante Fowler, even as old as he is, coming off of the best season that he's had in his career, which is wild because he's been in the NFL for a while and he's never lived up to his draft pick. I think he was like a top 5, top 3 draft pick. Never lived up to that, but at least last year for the Dallas Cowboys as a situational pass rusher, he had arguably his best season of his career. Then you have Dorrance Armstrong, who's going to finally step into a starting role for the first time of his NFL career. His short NFL career, though, but we're going to see, like, if double the snaps equals double the production. If so, then he will be a double-digit sack guy. I like KJ Henry's potential and talent that we've seen flashes of. So, and in Cleveland, Farrell has never lived up to the draft pick that he had as well, but he's coming in as a dependable run stuffer, edge setting type of guy. So we have, like, talent. We have depth at the edge position, but we don't just have, like, an elite guy. We don't have a Terry McLaurin of the edge position. We don't have a Jonathan Allen of the edge position. We don't have a Bobby Wagner or Frankie Louvu at the edge. We have a lot of good, decent guys, but we don't have just an elite guy. So you can argue that the Commanders, my point is that we could really use a Micah Parsons on this defense. Now, granted, of course, the money, and again, unless you wait till 2026, you're gonna have to trade for him, and what that would cost as far as trade value, probably multiple first-round picks, some players and things like that. So I don't see it happening, but you never know. Maybe the Cowboys and the Micah Parsons just eventually mutually get fed up with each other to the point where it's just unrepairable damage, and now he's holding out of games, and now the Cowboys are forced to trade him away for way less than what they normally would have. Maybe somewhat of a package like what we gave Trent Williams away for to the 49ers. They got him for pennies and pocket lint because of the off the field drama that we had dealing with him. He just didn't want to play for us anymore, and it was like, I guess you might as well get what you can for him rather than him just being around and not being able to play for you or anything like that. So hopefully maybe the Cowboys end up in a situation like that. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. But those are just scenarios as to where maybe Micah Parsons somehow ends up playing for the Washington Commanders. Who knows? Again, highly doubt it. But I just thought it was interesting that the drama that Micah Parsons has with the Cowboys has only been growing. And just, if you remember from a few months ago, his admiration for Dan Quinn, and also on top of that, the third party, the Commanders, and how we potentially need him. I think it's really interesting because I wouldn't be surprised, like just looking far into the future right now. First and second round wise, maybe we're probably looking at corner and tackle. Unless Brandon Coleman steps up, which I hope he does, and I believe he will. But if you had to do like a mock draft, a 2025 mock draft right now for the Washington Commanders, you're taking corner and tackle easily in the first round. First, second, whichever order, one of those two. But you can also argue that maybe we need to take an edge rusher as well. So if you can somehow land Micah Parsons and still some imaginary way have a first round pick to take corner or tackle, cool. But either way, my main point is that's one of your biggest needs right now, a star edge rusher. But at the same time, Dan Quinn and Joey Jr. are great at creating pressure, dialing up pressure, scheming pressure, even outside of the talent of the edge rushers that they have at their disposal. So maybe we don't need them that bad. And there's also the argument that after you trade for Micah Parsons, is he going to bring that drama over here? Because a lot of the selfishness that people are bringing up is coming from Dan Quinn was just there and Joey Jr. were there with them last year. Micah Parsons has not taken a single NFL snap without Dan Quinn yet. So all of the selfishness, all of the drama that's coming from it, that was happening while Dan Quinn was still the defensive coordinator. So him coming to the Commanders with Dan Quinn as the head coach does not automatically mean that it will fix the problem, because the problem was there while Dan Quinn was there. So there's always the argument that it may not even be worth the headache, because he's probably going to bring that same drama, and the way that his Cowboys teammates feel about him right now, our Commanders teammates will feel about the same way about him in the future if we were to bring him here, whether through trade or free agency. So it's probably just not worth it at all. But again, I just wanted to keep giving y'all those updates on those Micah Parsons situations. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section, let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Again, do you feel like the Jayden Daniels hype is just going a little bit too far, even though most of it is coming from outside the team? Do you feel like it's too much? Do you feel like you want more? Let me know how you feel about that. Also, do not forget to vote for Jayden Daniels for the ESPYs to win College Athlete of the Year. And then also, of course, let me know how you feel about this Micah Parsons situation. Are you in the group that wants to trade for him? Or do you want to just wait until he becomes a free agent in 2026? Or do you just not want anything to deal with Micah Parsons at all for the reasons I've already stated with the drama? He'll just probably bring that to the Commanders with him. The cost, how much money he'll cost cap space wise, and if you trade for him, Lord have mercy. So let me know how you feel about all of that in the description, in the comment section of this video. I'm gonna try my best. Again, I'm eventually, when I get some time, sit down and try to read and reply to as many comments as possible from several videos, going back maybe even a couple of weeks from all the videos that I've done. I really want to sit down and do that for y'all. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Do not leave this video without leaving a like, man. I really appreciate y'all for staying tuned and supporting the channel. I haven't been as consistent as I wanted to be, but I appreciate y'all pulling up to every video anyway. Can't wait for the training camp and everything to start up so I can keep giving y'all updates for those. And without further ado, I'm gonna catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I am out.